Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support. Today, I read an interesting article on yahoo.com, put out by MoneyWise, titled, "There's a new magic number Americans now say they'll need to retire comfortably, and it's shrunk since 2024. According to the author, the number Americans believe they'll need to retire comfortably is $1.26 million. This is according to Northwest Mutual's 2025 Planning in Progress study. My friends, $1.26 million may seem like a lot of money on the surface, but when you apply the 4% rule, that means you can draw down $50,400 per year, or $4,200 per month. Add that to whatever you receive from Social Security and ask yourself, is that going to be enough money during your retirement years? You better hope so, because some people may not be able to go back to work. Unfortunately, ageism is alive and well here in America, even though it is supposed to be illegal. Have you ever seen elderly people working at these retail jobs? Well, some had to go back to work because they couldn't make it during their retirement years on what they were bringing in every month. They thought they could, but life proved to be too expensive. I, for one, never want to be in that situation. And my heart goes out to everyday Americans who are in their 70s, 80s, or beyond and working these low-wage retail jobs because they need to survive. Many are forced to do that. Otherwise, they can't make their rent payments or they can't put food on the table. Social Security is simply not enough. And unfortunately, many Americans have no retirement savings. They rely solely on Social Security. So, if you are fortunate enough to have $1.26 million saved for retirement and you're receiving Social Security, can you make it? Can you have a comfortable retirement? A lot's going to depend on your lifestyle. If you live in an inexpensive area of the country and you have a small, modest, well-built home that's energy efficient and you have no HOA fee and your insurance is low, your property taxes are low, and your home is in good shape, all the mechanical systems are up to date, you have a newer roof, you have newer gutters and downspouts, the siding on the home is in great shape, you have a small yard that you can manage, so you don't have to pay a company to come maintain it for you. And you have vehicles that are paid off. And you don't have adult children still on your payroll. And you don't have a credit card debt. And you don't have student loan debt. And you don't travel extravagantly. Well, you may do just fine with $1.26 million. On the other hand, there are some Americans who live lavishly. They are always going out to eat at very expensive, trendy restaurants. They have big bar bills. They like to travel to exotic destinations. They like to have first-class airline tickets. They like to stay at resorts, and they don't mind paying those resort fees that many companies charge these days. Maybe these folks also have really nice vehicles, and they still have car payments. And because those are nice vehicles, they have high vehicle insurance. And those vehicles might be past the warranty period. So now they're paying expensive bills to keep those vehicles maintained. Many of these high-tech luxury vehicles are very expensive to maintain. Maybe these folks have children who are still on their payroll. There are a lot of retired people still supporting their adult children, constantly bailing them out. Maybe they have a big, extravagant home that's not energy efficient, and they have to pay high utility bills, and they have a big HOA fee because they want to live in a fancy neighborhood that has a big HOA fee. Maybe they have a really nice yard with a sprinkler system, but they don't want to maintain it anymore because they're traveling all the time. Well, it costs a lot of money to have a lawn care company maintain your lawn, all of your landscaping, keep your trees trimmed, maintain your sprinkler system. It all adds up. Maybe these folks have student loan debt. Yes, there are retirement age people who still have student loan debt. Well, $1.26 million may not be enough. And that's the truth. People could whittle away at that money, and before they know it, there's not much left. I know of a gentleman who retired with a decent amount of retirement savings, but he still had multiple adult children on his payroll. He was constantly supporting these adult children. He was bailing them out. And I'm talking about large sums of money every time they ran into some expensive problem. Well, the money is all gone now. And he lives in a very small one-bedroom apartment in a less than desirable area. And he's doing his best to survive just on what he receives from the government. And his adult children, they're still hitting him up for money, and he continues to support them however he can. It is truly sad. Here in America, life can be very, very expensive. If I were at an age where I was thinking about retiring and I knew I would have a certain fixed income, what I would do is I would try it out for a year. I would see if I could live within those constraints. And then after that year, I would reassess and determine whether or not I wanted to quit my job and retire. Unfortunately, some people don't do this. They simply take the plunge and retire. Here's the problem with that. Some people may go a few years and figure out they don't have enough money. They can't sustain themselves, or they can't sustain their preferred lifestyle. So they decide they'll need to go back to work. This could be a problem as you age. Ageism is supposed to be illegal, but I'm afraid it's still alive and well. Some people in America will have a difficult time finding a good paying job when they get older. That's simply the truth. I don't think you want to ever be in that position. In my opinion, it would be better to test it out for a year, see if you can live within the constraints of what your fixed income is going to be. Make sure it's going to work for you before you take the plunge. Some people don't realize it's not so easy to get back into the workforce, regardless of how great your experience is, or how great your education is, or how great your references are. I have a good friend, and he is my age, and he is having a very, very difficult time finding a good paying job. He has great experience. He has multiple degrees from very prestigious institutions. He has great references, but he is finding out that many of the jobs he's applying for have hundreds, or in some cases, thousands of applicants. And he is at an age where he believes he is less attractive to employers. I don't think you want to retire and then find out you have to go back to work. That is not a good situation to be in. Now, it's totally different if someone retires and they're bored and they want to work because they want to stay active physically and mentally. I get that. But unfortunately, there are people who retire and they are forced to go back to work. Otherwise, they can't sustain themselves. Terrible situation to be in. I'm curious if any of you know people who are in that position right now. Maybe you've had conversations with people recently who have told you they're thinking about going back to work. You might be wondering, why in the world would they want to do that? It may not be by choice. It may be because they've burned through their retirement savings and the cost of living in our country is simply too much to bear. They cannot survive just on the small amount of money that they are getting from Social Security. Tell me about these folks, if you know them, in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.